Okay, hi Fred, Conrad here. I just thought I'd give you a little quick viewing of what our spreadsheet looks like so that you can see what you're in for and whether or not you want to pursue this. But this is kind of the fun part. Okay, I've got a tuning in here that I did, so I just opened up the spreadsheet and you can see the letters in here. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is clear this. So this will get rid of all this information in here, clear out all the old stuff. And you can see we're square one. And but before we do any of that, I want to show you that we're on what we call the templates tab. And this shows the templates, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit more later, but we're not going to use them for this. We're just going to do a sort of a fast and dirty. And then out of the templates, it will go into this tab, what we call the adjust tab. And this is where most of the work is done. And then out of here, you see this copy to edit rounding. Well, the edit rounding is simply a place where we can fix the round off errors. Okay, this is another, let's see if I can get this a little bit more centered. That might help. Okay, anyway, that's don't worry about all that now. This is just showing. And then once we get the round off errors taken care of, then we export it to the database and also into Piano Manager, which is where we want to dump it in Piano Manager so that we can install it into the AccuTuner. Okay, so I'm going to slide this out of the way for now, and then take a quick look at the database that is in here. And this is these are just my tunings. I think you've probably got, this is pretty much what I sent you. And there's some other tabs in here that we can use. I can select any one of these and then send it into another tab, which is where we can edit it. And then we can re-edit. And see, this puts it back into the templates tab, so all this information is in there again. And we can adjust that tuning. You can see that tuning information has been put in here, back to edit rounding, and so forth. But for right now, let's just go back to the templates and let's clear these boxes. And let's start from some fresh numbers. This is that Steinway M that I did at the convention, but it doesn't really matter right now. I'm just going to pop in some numbers. So A0, A1, and 2, and so forth. So this is A1 minus 34.8. A1 is minus 8.9. A2 is 2.1. A3, A2 is minus 1.9. Minus 1.9. A3 is 2.1. A4 is 10.2. A5 is 3.5. A6 is 12.6. And A7 is 43.9. Okay, once those are all in there, we can create a tuning just from those A's. And it might be kind of fast and dirty, but it's probably as good, if not better, than anything any of the black boxes will do. Later on, we can check those. We can use these figures and match them up with templates, but this it's not required to get a tuning out of this. Right now, the spreadsheet knows what our placements are for all the A's, so I'm just going to copy that information over to the Adjust tab. Now the Adjust tab is down here, so notice it moved from templates over to here to Adjust. And these boxes here are what I call the poly boxes. And these tell the spreadsheet just to give me a polynomial tuning based on that information. So you can see the 34.8 minus 8.9 and so forth would be the same numbers as we have over here. A4 is 10.2 and so forth. And that's what that looks like. For more sophisticated use, we can just isolate this and move these numbers around. The blue bars are the amounts of the differences between the notes, and you can see the differences are represented here also numerically. The red bars are the A's, and the A's are movable with these arrows. Okay, but we're not going to, what was A2, wasn't that minus 1.9? Let's find out. Yes, it was 1.9. So anyway, just to double check, we can copy that back to the tab. It'll recalculate everything and put everything back to the way it was. We click the poly boxes, and that gives us that type of a tuning. Okay, say we're happy with that. So the next step is to copy this into edit rounding. We found out that a lot of these tunings will have, and by the math, will have round off errors that aren't easily seen in these curves or in the curve of the tuning. So we have Chuck put in an edit rounding tab, which will be the next one. So we copy to edit rounding, and this is where we can look at the round off errors, and I'll fix a few of those. I've got some some strokes. Let's zoom back out, and I don't think we need that zoom. Okay, so I'm going to use, I'll make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so that you can see what I'm doing. See these numbers here? These are actual the tuning settings. All right, so there are some keystrokes on the keyboard. You hold the shift or hold the control key down, and then you can make some little tweaks. Now I'm going to leave. I don't want to change the red ones because those are my targets, so I want to leave those pretty much alone. But I can clean up some of these others to make these round off errors a little less round, a little more in keeping with the situation. You with me here? Okay. I'm sure you got this. This is easy to see. Okay, I'm going to scroll all over into the treble, and again do some more little round offing. Okay, let's take that one down. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it, I see a little hump in this area, but this is just what poly does. But it's still a pretty nice sounding tuning. You can play with some of this when you get going on this, and like I said, this poly comes in handy for pitch raises and the like when you're just trying to get everything close and don't want to really mess with any of the D sharps or any of the other stuff. Okay, and this is what you use if you're doing some editing, but we're not going to deal with any of that right now. Let's assume that we have our tuning looking pretty much like we want it, round off error wise, no big gaps. Okay, so now the next step is to export this into Piano Manager. So we have a separate page for that, and this is going to be called, okay, the customer's name will be for show, and we'll call this piano heading the whatever piano. All right, so once we have named it, if we click this, add it to the Piano Manager, now that piano has been entered into our database. So when we look at the database, it will be right here at the bottom. Let's make this a little bit bigger, smaller actually, but so we can scroll and you'll see the whatever's down there for show. All right, but let's go back to the Export Manager, and now let's import it into Piano Manager. Okay, let's say, again, this is just a page of Piano Manager. Now I want to File, and then Import, and then we are on the Export to Piano Manager tab, so let's use that one. Okay, let's start our File, Import to Export to Piano Manager, and there it is, the what over piano. If we wanted to see that, let's see the chart before you dump it into your AccuTuner. You can see it, it'll be right there. But that's the tuning we're going to put in the AccuTuner. Okay, and then what we do next, I don't have my AccuTuner plugged in, but we go to File, a USB, and then Send. And since we don't have a tuner in there, then that's all there is to it. Okay. Let's just give you an idea of how this spreadsheet works and go from there. Okay. See ya.